Good evening and welcome to the Cheese Room podcast. My name is John. I am your host for this evening. Tonight we'll be talking about the draw at West Ham on Wednesday night, the rather dull closing of the transfer window for Tottenham Hotspur, and tomorrow's London derby against Fulham. Now, joining me this evening, I think we've had a complete change of team this evening. It was supposed to be cooler. It was supposed to be Brendan, me, and some HG, but everyone's bailed. So saving us all the way from Sydney, Australia, is Mr. David Harris. How are you, Dave?
Yeah, no, I'm very well. Recovering from the excitement of the transfer day deadline. I mean, it was so exciting. Still recovering.
And joining me all the way from, we have to say, it's tradition, South London, with his beanie, Mr. Paul Muir. How are you, Paul?
Evening. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm glad the window's closed. I'm glad we know what we've got after a very good window from Enoch and Mr. Levy and Don Fabio, and onwards, starting with tomorrow.
You're just trying to push Dave's buttons already, are you?
Me push someone's buttons. You've got me mixed up with someone else, John.
And for his first Friday appearance, he's done a couple of Wednesdays, did a great job. It's Craig from East Midlands Spurs. How are you, Craig?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks for having me on tonight. I'm excited, looking forward to it.
Good. Right, where do we go next? So let's talk about the West Ham game on Wednesday. Starting lineup. I haven't actually uploaded that. I failed there epically. Dave, any surprises?
Well, none, because Bentancur's got concussion, and concussion protocols dictate he can't play. I was really very, very excited that Basuma was starting. I was very excited about his signing in the summer. I think it's a great signing. So I'm very pleased about that. And still worried about Royale and Sanchez being on the right-hand side of our defence.
Did you get up for the game, Dave?
Yeah. Hang on. What time? Yeah, it was on at 4:45. Yeah, I watched it. Yeah. Hardcore,
Craig?
Do the transfer day show, nothing going on. I'm hardcore, man.
Craig, were you expecting Richarlison to get a spot in the team, or would you think so again apart from Basuma?
No, I didn't. I expected it to be exactly as it was, just the one change, forced change because of the concussion. So yeah, no surprises from me. As I expected, I think we'll see more changes coming in over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I wasn't surprised.
Oh, you got any West Ham fans in your life that would give you grief if we'd lost that game?
I've got a lot of West Ham fans in my life. I tried to get them out of my life, but they don't. They seem to come back like horrible little smells. What did I think of the game? I thought we were all right until the VAR decision, and then we just seemed to
We'll come to that.
Okay, sorry. Okay, let's talk about the lineup. Yeah, obviously, kind of like I think I'm excited about Basuma as well, and I didn't think he had such a bad game as everybody seems to think he has. But I thought we moved the ball quicker in midfield with him. But I think I'm fairly happy with a 1-1 coming out of there. Really.
How do you think we started, Paul? First 10 minutes before the penalty.
I thought we started great. I thought we started a lot better than we have done in the last couple of games. We seem to be kind of like playing the ball quite well around, knocking into midfield. We were hitting the angles. Harry, as I said in the pod during the week, was coming short. He was running the channels as well. It seemed like Son was trying to make some intelligent runs. It seemed like Kulu was trying to make some intelligent runs as well. And then Perisic was doing his thing down the left, and he's a wonderful player. That little step over, go left or right, it's just ballet. It's beautiful to watch. And then obviously, we'll come on to the goal now if you want. And it was just like, perfectly. I thought, here we go, scored early. We've capitalised on the first 10, 12, 15 minutes that we've done. And then obviously it took 4 minutes and 27 seconds for the officials at Stockley Park to come to that decision. And by that point, then we seemed to have lost all kind of momentum, which was a shame.
So it was a lovely step over, like you say, by Perisic. And again, put a lovely left-footed cross in, which he keeps doing. And surely we're going to score goals galore if he can keep fit and keep playing like that. So this is the incident. What was your view of it, Craig?
My view initially was penalty. I think as everyone's was penalty. But I think after watching it for 50 times, I think the non-penalty was the right decision in the end. It's one of those, wasn't it? You can argue it either way. I think by the letter of the law, it's not a penalty. That picture is perhaps, and that frame doesn't perhaps do the whole incident in context. But yeah, I was shouting for the penalty. Wasn't in the end for me.
Yeah, Davo?
I'm just looking at that sign. This is the world stage. What's that about? It's the world stage funded by the government for an Olympics. That's what it is.
That's for Coldplay, Dave.
Coldplay. Oh, is that where you have to ride on a bike to keep the electricity going? I'd ride backwards, to be honest. That's why Caller's not on tonight. He's done his hammy, keeping the electricity going for Chris Martin. Do you know what? I thought the first half was our best half of the season so far. I thought we played really well. I thought Son looked bright. He looked bright. And I thought we played really well. Perisic, I bloody love Perisic. Don't you reckon? He's a wing back, right? He does these two things quite weird, really. He beats a man and he gets an accurate crossing. Who'd have thought it from a wing back, right? I mean, didn't he go on loan to Bayern Munich, win the Champions League from them? And he came back to Milan. He's a class player. Basuma, I thought, started very nervously, got a stupid booking, but he got better as he went on. So I thought we played, first half, I thought we played really well. Best game of the season, but that wasn't a penalty. Sorry.
No.
You all agree on that?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the rules have changed, ultimately. So from when Sissoko hit his chest onto his arm at the Champions League final, that was a penalty then. Now it wouldn't be a penalty. It always seems to go against us. I had this long conversation with XG earlier, and he was saying, if it takes 4.5 minutes, how is it clear and obvious? But is it one of these things where that's a matter of fact rather than a contentious decision? I think that's the thing for me. The fact that it did hit his head onto his arm, so it can't be. If it hits another part of the body and then hits the arm, it cannot be a penalty or a handball.
When did that rule come in, John?
I couldn't actually find the change, but I think it was a year or so after Sissoko. So it would have been 2020, I think.
Yeah.
It might be 21. Definitely not this summer.
That's just peachy in it for us. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then obviously we got the goal with, was it Kulu down the right? Paul?
It was a break. I think Dyer, intercepts it. Rice tried to play through ball. Dyer intercepted that, meant Rice was out of position, and then we transitioned really, really quickly into Kulu taking it through the middle, and then Kane doing a really nice overlapping kind of curved run, right on his shoulder, and they were really close together, obviously, and then just Kulu just timed the ball beautifully, the right touch, and then across it went, and then Son was going to put that in if the centre back hadn't put it in. It looked a really, really easy goal, but it was also it could have been really, really easy to muck up. All Kulu had to do was overhit that ball. They were so close to their ball line. They were running at pace as well. There's a lot of defenders there. There wasn't a lot of room to work in. I thought it was really smart, and Kane just made that beautifully by just overlapping on his right shoulder. And Kulu just basically slid in into Kane's path, and then first time across, and then Son was there. It's a shame actually it was an OG, because it would have been really good. It'd be good for Son, obviously.
He needs a goal, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he needs a goal. But as Dave Dave and I, if you want to time and date this, we're in agreement on this. It's
what?
Yeah, I know. I think Son looked the best he's looked for a while. Yeah, when you watch what he does off the ball and stuff like that as well, he was making the runs at the right time. He was doing defensive work as well. I don't believe that if Son's not running with the ball, he doesn't really offer anything. He does offer things. Opposition midfielders and opposition defenders are always on the lookout, which gives other players space and time if Son's on the field. But that, as Dave said, that was his best half for a while at the Olympic Stadium the other night.
I just wanted to go back to Alpash's comment about I've lost it now.
Okay.
Hold on. No, I haven't got it. Basically, Alpash, the reason is if it comes off another part of your body and then hits your hand, it cannot be handball. Doesn't matter whether you mean it or not. It is then deemed as unintentional.
So if the ball is trickling along the 6-yard box and I do a keepy up from my foot onto my hand, that's not handball.
unless you've done it deliberately. Unless the ref deems you've done it.
Yeah, it's a deliberate action, isn't it? It's a deliberate
Okay.
action.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
But obviously, in that you could tell. I mean, he clearly didn't do that. The only annoying thing is his arm was up there, and if the arm wasn't in there, it's on target. So there's a bit of contentious. Like any rule, there's a bit of contentious about that. But unfortunately, the right decision was made. As much as it sucks against us.
Mm.
It really upset. It really upset the momentum and the rhythm of the game. It just like
it got the West Ham fans up, didn't it?
It did. And then straight away they come on the offensive, and then like I think Rice or maybe even one of the centre backs brings the ball out and beats two players, and then just like they seem to be like bedding now like our third for a good 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and they'd been nowhere near our goal.
No.
And then obviously the shot from Antonio came back 50 minutes after that, and that was a really good shot. I mean, I don't really know what Dyer was doing there. We know Antonio wants to go on his right foot, and then Dyer shows him his right foot. I just didn't understand what he was doing defensively. But yeah, I mean that really sucked all kind of forward momentum that we had. That 4.5 minutes waiting for that decision, which was a real shame, which compounded the disappointment of actually not getting the goal.
Yeah, I mean, Craig, sorry, something I forgot to mention. Emerson in the second minute, but raid down the right wing, and quite a good shot as well. I mean, was that a surprise?
No, not at all. I think Emerson's been. I think he's probably been one of our better players in the night. I thought he was really good, and I thought he was good. I think he's been good all season. To be honest, he's improving, hasn't he? He's got his limitations. We talked about it on the pod before. Going forward, but what he does, the defensive side of his game, I thought was really strong. And I think he is getting better going forward. His crossing's definitely improved from the first season. He was with the first few months. He's worked on it, and it is improving. Yeah, he's never going to be a Perisic, is he? Or in terms of quality in the final third. But we shouldn't expect it. I think we all know that we will upgrade that position when the time is right, probably in the next summer transfer window. Up until then, he'll do a good job for us. So yeah, keep going, Royale, I say.
Seb made a really good point the other night on the pod. Is that when Dyer intercepts that ball from Rice, Emerson is on the edge of the 18-yard box, and then by the time that we're up the other end and the OG's in, Emerson is the fourth player. He sprinted like 75 meters. Now I know he's going to. Some people come around and say, "Well, that's his job," but actually, I think he is. He's that agent that starts where if we do break forward, I think he's been given instructions by Conte and the team to just flood forward and make that extra man. I think which might see him kind of get on the end of stuff a bit more. I know what Dave's going to say here. Go on, Dave. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, carry on.
He has improved. He's still a bit reticent when the ball comes out to him. I love him to take a first-time cross and see what happens. It might go into Rose Ed. It might go into a beautiful, corridor of uncertainty between the opposition centre back and the goalie. We don't know. But what he does to a lot at the the new stadium, is he takes a touch, stops it, and then the whole thing stops, and normally passes back inside to Kulu, and then Kulu's got no space to work with or any forward kind of momentum. So that's just a little thing that I'd like him to basically improve. Just back himself, hit the ball first time, and see what happens. Give the opposition something to think about.
I mean, Emerson Royale's the footballing equivalent of you've booked a week away somewhere, and about halfway through the holiday, you go, actually, it's not really any good this holiday, is it? And you're trying your best to think it's going to be good, but ultimately, I mean, I think was it the Southampton game or the Wolves game? He broke away on the right. Everyone's waiting in the middle, and he put a cross in behind everybody. I'm really sorry. We're all trying to be very nice to him and stuff like that. He's not good enough. And even if he played as a right fullback, he can't cross the ball. He doesn't want to beat a man, and that's what you need from a right fullback or a right, and particularly a right wing back. We spent a lot of money on him. I don't know. It's 25 million quid for him, and I just don't think he's good enough. And we're all trying to be really nice about him and hoping it's going to work. But one of the major issues that we didn't address in this window is on the right wing back side, considering that the Conte ball is dependent on wing backs.
I think for that though, I think we've got to remember he wasn't signed for Conte. He was signed under Nuno Ball, which was a very different type of football. And he
It was there Nuno Ball.
And he did, his role in that team, what he was bought for, was a lot more defensive than what Conte wants from him. But, I genuinely believe that, he's not perfect, as we talked about, particularly in the attacking sense, and he's got a lot of work to improve. But that we've got him and we've got Doherty, and for whatever reason, Conte is picking Royale over Doherty, who you could argue does add a little bit more from an attacking sense. And I think we will probably see Doherty transition in over the season and play his fair share of games from that position. But if they really wanted to upgrade that position, if they really felt it was a priority position for them this summer, I do think they would have gone and done it. I just think, I trust. We talked about this before in the pod with Paul. I trust impeccably the strategy we've got at the moment, the transfer strategy, and what we're trying to do, and in terms of the squad development. I just think they've made a decision, whether we agree with it or not, that between Royale and Doherty, they will do the job we need him to do this year. And he has improved. I think I'm not saying he's going to be the world beater. He's nowhere near Perisic's level, but I'm okay with him personally.
Does anyone? I know Doherty was injured, but he was playing really well before we got the injury last year. Is anyone surprised? I mean, do you think we might see him tomorrow, possibly, Paul?
Yeah, I think there was some of the training stuff for the club released, and they showed Doherty. He looked really sharp. They were doing some cone and change of direction drills. Showed Skip. Obviously, Skip's back in training. He was on the bench the other night. And then showed Doherty. Doherty looked sharp. He looked lean. He looked fit. He looked like he was moving really, really well. So he's definitely well. From my, you're only seeing 15, 20 seconds of a drill, but he looked in good nick. I don't know what's going on with Spence. As someone who watched all of Forest last year, because Spence was really exciting, I thought we could go for him. And he showed his little cameo at Forest where he absolutely just put the afterburners on and tore up the ground. And he had an opportunity to had a really good opportunity in the 6-yard box. He slipped, the ball came to him on his left, and he just ballooned into the goalkeeper's arms. But I don't know what's going on with Spence. Really, I thought, to my eye, I think he was ready to just step in there and from the get go. I think he's more of a specialist right wing back than Emerson Royale. So for whatever reason, at the minute he's not getting a look in. I don't really know why. I don't want to guess really, because I don't want to add any kind of negativity to something we don't know about. But yeah, Doherty could start tomorrow. Yeah, we've gone out. Especially with the games coming up, as everybody keeps talking about now. Now we start to see the periodization, what games are important, what games we think we can probably switch people in and out of, etc., etc. So yeah, John, I wouldn't be surprised if Doherty starts tomorrow.
I'm just going to stop here. Legion 1999. We are going to talk about the press conference, but we're going to finish the West Ham preview first, to get the review first. But we will get to it, and I have got quotes to discuss. And I did show Dave, because obviously he'd just woken up and missed the whole press conference earlier, the quotes earlier. For me,
I was asleep.
You were asleep, as you often are. Sometimes
most people are asleep. That's what happens generally.
For me, Spence, it's too early for him. Conte's not going to put him straight in. We might see him in the Carabao Cup game at Forest, as it happens. I just think he's going to make him learn the system really well. You could tell Basuma wasn't quite there yet, and I think I believe Conte said today that Bentancur and Højbjerg are his first choice, and Basuma's behind them. Now, whether that's to do with, we'll talk about the goal in a minute, but I think he wants to get them all integrated. For me, Spence is the future, hopefully. I think he's the closest to Kyle Walker we've probably ever had. He's certainly better going forward than Emerson. And Doherty, yeah, true. Emerson did put a nice cross in second half. I will give him that. First time in 18 months he's managed to cross the ball properly. So every little helps. I do think that Doherty's movement is his key, but he can't cross either, really.
No.
He's very good at low crosses, if anything, and his movement and getting in the box. So it just depends who we're playing and if he's fit. But now he won't play left wing back unless he wants to put him again ahead of Cess. I think Cess has got the same problem, lacks confidence, and doesn't really want to cross the ball, does he? And can't beat a man.
Nope.
Sorry, Craig, your thoughts on the wing backs?
No, I think I think you make valid points about all the weaknesses, particularly on our right side. I think we know it's our weak side. I think that on the left-hand side, I'm not as worried. I think Perisic will be our, the number one left wing back, and his quality is gravy, isn't it? He really is different level, and I think we're all happy and excited about what he's going to bring. And I do think longer term, he is going to bring Sessegnon on and hopefully bring him up to a different level. I believe it's exactly why he's been brought into the team. They brought Perisic in to bring him on, and I think we'll, in the longer term, have a great player in Sessegnon on that left-hand side. I think on the right-hand side, as I said, I think Royer will be the main starter on that position, and Doherty will come in. I do think as the season progresses, I like to believe that Spence will come into that team and probably, as we get towards the end of the season, start more games than he doesn't start. I do think I think someone just said about he's our best since Walker. I think that's a fair assessment. I think he's got a great potential. But certainly right-hand side is weak. I think we all know it's weak, and it needs to be strengthened. But we've bought one for the future in Spence, and we'll go from there.
Paul, did you want to make a point?
Yeah, I watched Udinese versus Monza last week at a Doge Destiny played. He got subbed at 70 minutes. The kid is mustard. He's really, really good. He's like built. He's quick. He can cross. He can tackle. And he scored. He got on the back post and he scored. He scored a really, really nicely kind of worked goal. It was a mix of everything. Everything's like he's got Doherty's movement, arriving at the right time. He's got the kind of speed of like someone like Cess. And Cess is quick. He might have lost a little bit of pace, but he's quick. But he's also got the kind of the nous about him that a Perisic has. And David said this when we've done stuff together. Cess has got to take this season. He's got to take it because he's not going to get in next season. This kid is just going to come in and wait his time for 2 or 3 weeks. And then I think Destiny, I'm that confident about this guy that I think he's going to like fit in seamlessly. He's the second. He has the second assist and goals after Perisic in the Italian league. We've got Perisic already on the other side. I think Cess has really got. I think he's got to take his opportunity. If he doesn't, he's behind another player next season. And but Destiny on one side and then Spence on the other, and maybe like 18 months time is. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Looks really good.
James, my son, was on a Fulham pod, and the guy was supposed to be on our show tonight, but unfortunately had to pull out. And I listened to the pod earlier, and it was very interesting how highly they rated Sessegnon, and very much felt that he should be playing as one of the front three. So if you put him in that role, you'll see a different player. Now, for me, I've seen very little going forward from Cess to make me think that. I think the injuries and the time under Mourinho and Nuno he's just not got any confidence. He needs building up.
He's got nothing. John's got no confidence. You can see it.
No,
he's so timid. He's like Carl Walker-Peters timid. He's like doesn't want to get involved.
I thought he was getting there at the end of last season. Then he got another injury. Yeah, and it's just frustrating. Maybe he needs to move to progress his career more.
Maybe he needs to go to Southampton, where
maybe he needs. I'll tell you what, old little rabbit man, Hasenhüttl has done a good job with some of those players. Isn't that what HG? What do you call him? Tell me.
Rabbit man.
Little rabbit, isn't it? That Hasenhüttl
Rabbit Hutch. It's Hasenhüttl, Rabbit Hutch.
Something like that. HG would tell us.
I think Gibbo's got a bit of Ralph Hasselholt about him. Oh, Gibbo. Just something about Gibbo reminds me when he's on his.
Does Ralph drive a tractor?
He does actually. He drives a German tractor with Teutonic efficiency.
It's right. He's Austrian, but don't worry.
Oh, all right. Fair enough. Well done. There goes my C in GCSE geography again.
Shall we talk about the second half? So,
was it played in Austria the second half?
Well, the pitch is that stadium's so big it could have been. Craig, what happened? What changed second half for us?
I think the West Ham got the wind of their tails and they got the fans behind them, didn't they? Second half, and it was West Ham when it's like that is always a difficult place to go when it's despite the fact the it's an awful stadium. The West Ham fans do did get behind their team, and they're really vocal in that stadium. And I just thought they got the wind beneath the sails, and they made life difficult for us. But to be honest with you, before the game, I didn't expect anything different to that. I knew it was going to be a tough game, and it proved to be the case. It never is easy. It's their cup final, as we always say. And that VAR decision, like I say, it just seemed to lift them 20%, 30%, and we just couldn't quite at that point get a grip on the game in the same way that we did in the first half. That said, we still maintained, I think we dominated possession even in the second half. We just didn't do anything necessarily productive with it in terms of forward passing, as much as we did in the first half. So in the end, and the balance of the second half, I think we'd all agree. I like to think we'd all agree that we were probably in the end lucky to get away with a point, to be honest. And they probably should have won the game with the chances they had. But I think we haven't played well. We haven't had 90 minutes, I think, where I would say Spurs have played well so far this season. We played well maybe in pockets. So we played well, I thought, in the first half. We played particularly well, particularly the first 10 minutes. We've not brought it up consistently. So I think if we can go to a place like West Ham, a place where we went last season and lost, and not play well and still come out with a point, it's not, there's a positives I take away from that second half, is that when you can't win, don't lose. And we didn't lose. That's, for me, how I saw the second half.
Dave, Gibbo messaged me specifically. It's his wife's birthday, so he couldn't watch the show tonight. But he asked me, can we discuss Hugo's passing at the back? And I think, obviously, with reference to Mr. Sanchez, who we hope won't be playing tomorrow. Do you want to chat about that?
Well, I mean, look, the West Ham fans got very excited in the second half because, Mo Farah beat the world record going around the track on the outside of the pitch. And, at the end of the day, right, what I got irritated about at 5:45 on the Thursday morning is just the whole Lloris, Sanchez, Emerson, just the way there's such the lack of comfort at the ball in the second half. West Ham, I felt, pressed up high and pressed us well in the second half and put pressure on us. Lloris is, sometimes I was shouting at Lloris to go Wimbledon 1980s Route 1 and just get it up the pitch, right? Because we got pressed up high. I thought that it was Højbjerg more at fault for the goal. I thought that he didn't cover the man, and all this pissing around of his boot and whether he was injured or not, that also interrupted the flow and the concentration as well, in my opinion. Lloris, his passing this Saturday wasn't that great. We know that, but that's how we got pressured, and it's as simple as that. We get Romero back in the team. He's much better. He's obviously a better player than Sanchez, but Romero's obviously very good at transitioning the ball out of defence and up the pitch, which is what we need to do. So, we played well first half, second half. We were lucky to get away with a draw, but our record in derbies away last season and probably for a few years is appalling. So we've gone to Chelsea, we've gone to West Ham, we've got a point each, and that's good. That's a positive. King
I think Paul. I think he makes a good point about Højbjerg, but also Bissouma switched off, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's just wasn't watching what he was doing. He'd left Dyer exposed, and it was a clever little flick by that point though. But he was in the striker's edge of 6-yard box, and it went in. Højbjerg wound me up Wednesday. It was a good tackle by Rice at the end of the first half extra time, and it was quite clear that he'd been crocked a bit. And Woody went down, got back up, started gesticulating to the sidelines and stuff, and just like Pierre, right, either go down and get someone to bring a boot on with the physios and change it in one, or go off and then we'll make a sub. But he didn't. He was like half in between, and I'm with Dave again twice in one pod. Jeez, that he kind of pulled a bit of focus really, and people were like, right, oh, is Pierre injured or is his boot busted or whatever? And it was just like, he annoyed me the other night, but the goal was just. It was the midfield again. It was caught sleeping, and
there you go.
I thought it was a foul throw, to be honest, as well.
Well, I've seen Alpash and Kerry have said about should VAR not spot it. They're not allowed. VAR is not allowed to get involved.
I looked at that.
Restarts or anything like that.
Sorry, mate. Kerry, I looked at that as well. VR, they can't do that. They're not allowed to do that. No, but it looked like the ball didn't go behind his head as well, and he kind of like he released it. It came as a really low trajectory. I just thought that looks dodgy, but I mean, that's me just crying over little things. But it's just a really annoying goal to concede, and the way we conceded it, it was just horrible. And yeah, I mean, I can't. We've said as much as we can about West Ham kind of like letting Sanchez or Sanchez or Royale have the ball and then trapping them and cutting down their options. And that's just basic kind of like tactics from Moyes. You don't have to be a Pep to understand that. It's like, pressure Davis, pressure kind of like Dyer, but let Sanchez and Romero have the ball because we know they can't really hurt us. You've got to look at you've got to look at also like your teammates and thinking, okay, these guys are limited with the ball. I'm going to give them a really easy option. I am going to run a channel. I'm going to do a selfless run where it's going to be like a pumped up ball down the line from either one of our right wing back or our right centre back. Kind of will put me with like 50 or 60% of getting something. But I think once I see those guys get the ball, no one moves because they just don't trust they're going to, if they make a run, it's going to find them. So there's a little bit of responsibility there as well. It's like you don't give your teammate in possession, you don't give them a good pass or an easier pass to go. I think we're a little bit guilty of that as well. Of course, teams will press, but we can try and make it easier for the person in possession to give them an easier pass to hit. But I don't think we do that. And then, it will look different when Romero comes back. I'm sure that right hand, of course it will, but hopefully he'll come in tomorrow.
Craig, do you want to? Great Street's comment here. I know this is controversial, but if Lloris and Sanchez aren't that great on the ball, don't ask them to play that kind of football. Which is great in theory, but that's Conte's style, isn't it?
I was exactly what I was going to say. Conte's whole philosophy is built on patterns of play. They have regimented patterns of play of how they're going to play out from the back and the passes they're going to make. They know the passes they're going to make before they even do them. So, we're not going to change style just because we've got Sanchez and Royale that aren't the strongest with the ball at their feet. They're going to play and continue to play them patterns of play. And you need to play out that way to create the space to get the number. When you're playing two in the midfield in the way that we do, unless we play out first to that left or right hand side, the options aren't there to play back into midfield because they outnumber us and they pressure us in the midfield. So we've got to play to invite the press and then try and break the press, and that's what we're trying to do. And yes, it just didn't fall for us as much as it could have done in West Ham, and they were, as Paul, you said, they set really, it's not rocket science. They set traps. And we fell for it all night. But, they don't look to go long because Conte doesn't want them to do that. It's not what Conte wants. It's not Conte's patterns of play. So they just, and it's as much as it's frustrating for us, that's why we keep seeing them do that thing over and over again. It was, look, when Romero comes in, Paul's right, it changes the balance because suddenly you've got a team that aren't going to set traps where they force us to go one way because they know if they go that way, then actually he's just as capable of doing something with the ball as he can if they go out to the left-hand side. So suddenly the trap becomes a little bit harder to pull for us. But it's one of those things. I was frustrated watching the game at the same time as everyone else was, but I didn't expect it to change. I didn't think we was ever going to do anything different because that's what Conte wants.
I think there's that comment there. Sorry, jumping in. Put that one back up, that German one. I think I don't know a lot about Longley, I must admit, but I mean, as what I can see, he could play in the middle, and you shift Dyer to the right hand side, and you leave Davis's left centre back. I think that's an option as well. If Romero does go down again, I mean, he missed 14, 15 games last season. He's missed a couple this season. Yeah. If he goes down again, I think you could see that. I mean, obviously, I've only seen like literally 4 or 5 minutes of Longley playing, but he looks pretty cultured on the ball. So maybe that could be an option. Put Longley in the middle and then put Dyer out to right-hand centre back.
Yeah, I think HG's made a comment back to Phil saying about sometimes you just need to hoof it. The thing is, Romero's better at hoofing it than Sanchez because he can pass the ball 40 yards, can't he? That's the other thing.
We win very, very few second ball away from home. At Chelsea, we won. We were under the cosh at Chelsea, and at Forest as well. We didn't win any second ball at Forest.
And that's the point, Paul, isn't it? I think we see that when we do hoof it long, it just comes straight back every single time, and we just find ourselves under constant pressure. which is again falls back to the principle of play, the pattern of play about playing out and then playing through the middle to go out. Is what we try and break that press, and that's what we'll continue to do. And like you say, Romero comes back in, it changes our team dynamic completely. And the point about Lenglet is absolutely right. Everything I've seen of him outside of a Spurs shirt is a really good ball player. So he will come in, I think, in the next few weeks as well, and see where he plays if he goes that left-hand side or that centre of the park. We shall see.
Could we see him coming in the Champions League game? Is that going to be too early for him? It's more his sort of game, isn't it, for Lenglet coming in Europe? So
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm just going to interrupt. We've got 123 people watching and only 35 likes. Come on, guys. Please give us a little thumbs up. It costs you nothing. Helps us, gets the pod out there. Helps the algorithm or something that Caller goes on about us. But yeah, just click that little like button. It'd be really helpful for us. That'd be great. Thank you very much. So, as Craig's already mentioned, West Ham had a fair few chances they could have taken. But one bright spark was off the only sub we made, which is a bit worrying. And I know the bench has been mentioned in the comments tonight. Mr. Richarlison, Paul Muir's, the man Paul Muir's wanted to punch for years. He now wants to cuddle him and get a tattoo on his back. How good did he look when he came on the right wing this time, Paul?
Yeah, he's winning me round, the little bastard. No, he did look good. I understand from people who were there that they didn't agree. Some of the Spurs fans who were there at the stadium, they didn't agree with taking Kulu off for him. There was a little bit of dissent, shall we say? But he looked good in the right. I mean, Bren makes his point all the time, and I do have to agree with it that he does create space for other people to play better and to express themselves more, which I really, really like. And I didn't really notice about him in an Everton shirt. He just injects energy as well. He's like a shot of adrenaline, and he kind of comes short. He'll take a dribble. He'll go for a quick throw in. He'll try and throw it himself rather than wait for his fullback or his wing back to come up and take the throw in. He's always trying to quicken it up. He's beginning to win me around. And we'll probably talk about Fulham. I'd probably start him at Fulham instead of Son, but we'll come on to that in a minute. But no, it was a good sub. It was the only attacking sub we can make, which is slightly worrying. But be it.
I think that's because Lucas and Hill were potentially going out the door, but apparently they're still injured for tomorrow. Not obviously Hill put up this Instagram post suggesting he wasn't very happy, but it was in Spanish. So
what's he not very happy about? Happy about?
He wanted to go to Valencia, didn't he? It's sunny out there. And
so you'd rather go and play for an idiot like Gattuso rather than stay in London and play for one of the most elite managers in the game right now?
I have a feeling that he's a young lad. He's Spanish. He was adored by those Valencia fans. I was listening to Terry Gibson on the radio yesterday, and he was saying they absolutely loved him, the fans of Valencia. So I can sort of get why he wants to go back there.
Yeah.
And he's not, but it'll be interesting. He's going to have to work hard now to get in the team. He's going to have to take his chance and try it. But anyway, my question to you, Paul, is you say Brendan mentioned about Richarlison. Mm-hmm. Why would it be that Brendan would be talking up a Brazilian Spurs player? Is that something new?
In other news, water's wet and the sun shines. No, I mean Bren is our Brazilian Spurs correspondent, and
also he pulled out the show after I sent him the quote from Fabrizio Romano that Lucas is going to leave next summer.
Maybe he's building a shrine as we speak to Lucas right now, and he's got his kind of like green away Ajax top on, and he's like, I don't know, maybe he's doing 50 whips of his back or something. I don't know what's going on in Bren's life, but I know.
With speedos on.
Yeah, with speedos on. Why would? Yeah, sorry.
Let's move on anyway. So anyway,
you throw me there. Sorry, guys.
Are we happy with a point after that second half?
Can we just talk about the options off the bench thing again? Do you mind?
Yeah, okay. Go on, Dave. Go on.
Right. The reality is we need, and it's not rocket science. You need two players competing for one position in the squad. That's a healthy squad, right? So in terms of the six up top, you've got obviously Kane, Son, Kulu, Richarlison. Everyone's happy with that, right? And then your fifth and sixth is Mora, and Hill, right? Now, I wouldn't have minded if he'd have bought some lumbering 6'7" Austrian centre forward to bung on the 5 minutes to go and lump it up to if we need to, right? And, you know, they were in for Zaniolo or whatever his name was. They didn't get him. You know, there was talk about Dan James. I mean, if we'd have loaned out Hill and brought in Dan James, last night's transfer show would have gone for about 5 hours, me ranting about that one. So, you know, Hill, you know, if Hill's actually serious about making a career at the club, he should stop moaning about going back to Valencia. I think Hill, and me and Caller and I disagree on this. I think Hill will turn out to be a crap signing. No idea. You know, you buy a left winger, someone who plays a touchline hugging left winger. We don't play that way. We haven't played that way in years. And in the context of where our squad was last year, buying someone for potential when we've had 2 awful seasons, it just doesn't work. So if he's moaning that he didn't go back, he actually should be quiet and just get on with trying to make a career at the club. All right, or he'll go in January and that'll be the end of him.
I mean, Craig, I don't think he's done himself any favours with that Instagram post, has he? With
No, I mean, I haven't been able to figure out what the exact translation was, but I think you've got to put yourself in. He hasn't done himself any favours, and we all agree. I think he's got to knuckle down now, and he's got to get on with it, and he's got to try and carve a place in this squad or a place in this team for where Conte can trust him. But from everything we're told on Twitter and social media, is he was 99% done deal that he was going back to Valencia. It was the whoever was going to sign as the alternative to come in was pretty much there and done. The Valencia president come out and said that himself. So if you're in Gil's position, he is thinking, I'm going back to Valencia where the sun shines, where the supporters love me. And right on the last day, it's been pulled from him. So I understand he's a young lad. He's going to react emotionally, and he's put a post up which is stupid. And he's not done himself any favours, but he is a better alternative in terms of a 6th choice attacking player in our squad than anything I think we would have brought in on deadline day, or the player from Leeds that everyone would have had a massive meltdown if we brought him in. So we've got him. Whether he will turn into a longer term prospect, a longer term good player for Spurs, I don't know. I think the jury's out, to be honest. But we will see. But he's here. He's got to knuckle down. He's got to work really hard now and prove he can offer something to this team.
Are we talking about Hill being a backup, being the choice to Kulu?
I think he's behind that. I think it goes Kane, Son, Kulu, Richarlison, Moira, and then him. And because Moira and Hill can play on either side of them wing sides, can't they? So I think he is. Hence why I say the 6th choice. I think he is the last one on the pecking order. He will only play if we're desperate, and/or it's in the the cup competitions, whatever it might be. In my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see him playing at Forest again. I wouldn't be surprised if we play a bit of a reserve team at Forest
But I'd like to see whatever team turns up at Forest turn up with a decent attitude of trying to get actually into the first team, not kind of turn up with some kind of victimhood mentality that they can't.
That's what it sounds like, doesn't it, Dave? That's what it sounds like. Kids put something out on Instagram. It's like, I didn't get my way. Where's my dummy? I'm in my pram. I'm going to throw a thing out on the floor. That's what it sounds like, and that's not going to go down well with
the only thing I would say
a disciplinarian and authoritarian figure like Conte. That's just not going to go down well.
No,
he needs. I know he's a young kid, but the club have got people. They help him settle. He can bring people over. I mean, God, he probably earns enough to stick his family on a private jet every Friday to come over and see him for the weekend and stuff. It's just like. Yeah, for you. You're playing for a top team. You're in the world's kind of probably foremost league. You're earning decent cash. You've got a good lifestyle. I'm sorry you didn't get your chance to play in where you prefer to play, but you're still a lot better off than a lot of people. 99% of people playing in professional football. Yeah. Suck it up, princess.
I agree with everything you said there, but don't we also agree that it shows something about the lad that he wants to go and play? He's not happy with just being a 6th choice attacking player.
In his comfort zone. He wants to play where he wants to play, in a country where he wants to play. But we don't always get that, though, do we?
No, of course not. But I also don't think if he was starting for Spurs on one of those wings, on either side of the wing, he wouldn't be putting posts up saying he wants to go or he's never got his way, would he? I don't think it would be a conversation we'll be having. I think the conversation we're having is because he knows he's at the bottom of the pecking order, and he probably wants to play. Whether he's good enough to play.
Yeah, but sorry to Kane. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I don't.
But if he wants to play, he should be loaned out to an English club and acclimatising to living in England, learning the language and playing English football. What is the point of loaning him back to Spain? Unless he's going to be, what's his face, Saliba, who they loaned back to France for 2 years and now has come in and everyone's raving about him. So if he turns out to be a Saliba, I'd be amazed. So I'm thinking this time next summer, Parrott has hopefully will have had a good season, and Parrott comes in as the 5th or 6th choice and fighting for a place. That's what I'm looking for, actually. So Hill can go. It's the reality is he should be, if he wants a loan, him and his agent should have said, "Can you get me an English club?" Not go back to his comfort zone.
Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that.
I agree with Paul for the 3rd time in this show.
Goodness me. Just to comment on the Alpesh's comment, he's 21, Alpesh.
21,
I think he was given the impression he was going to Valencia.
Yeah.
And it was just a matter of time of assigning someone. Because Gattuso came out a week ago and said, we're waiting for him. They all thought it was a done deal, basically. And Spurs just had to sign someone. And for whatever reason, we didn't sign someone, which we'll come to in a minute about the transfers and what went wrong and what went right. But should we just so we've discussed the subs. Obviously, we only made the one sub. Are we happy with the 1-1 draw at the end of that, Dave?
Look, I know that it's a little bit of a recurring theme at the moment of we compared the result against last year and we've bettered it each time, the Southampton Wolves and things like that. I think that's a little bit of a get out of jail card, really. As I said, the first half performance was the best performance I've seen this season so far. Second half, we were just not in it. What concerned me was Conte didn't really want to change things, which I know that we've seen that in the past. I just want Romero back in and sort the distribution out from the back. But West Ham haven't started the season well, and they were there for taking in the first half. And I know we didn't talk about that much, but then Sonny had that chance in the first half where his header was too heavy. I think, in other seasons, he'd have had the confidence to go in and finish that, and it would have been 2-0, job done. So, on the whole, it was a good result. We'd have taken that. But we do need to start winning London derbies away. We really do.
Yeah. Paul?
Yeah, I'm happy with the 1-1. I think Craig might mention it earlier. Bowen had a good chance at the knock-ins. Yeah, I'm happy, and I'm again. We didn't lose. That's it. A Tottenham maybe of like early last season, early doors under Conte, certainly Nuno, and maybe even I know we won there. Jose won there his debut, but we could have lost that game 2-3, 3-1. We didn't. We rode our luck at the end there. Bowen had a good opportunity, as I said. Antonio did hit the post with a really good shot, but it's onwards. We're unbeaten still. It's good. It's good. It's fine.
I'm just going to guess that HG's on a bit of a delay here. You think our first half was the best of the season?
Yeah, I do.
It was. Lloyd,
do you not say Southampton second half?
Lloyd, it was the best. It was like Kane was back to like what we expect. Okay, Bissouma I thought was good. I think the yellow was petulant. I didn't realize he got 10 yellows last season. Okay, we do have a massive problem on the right hand side. All the things we spoke about, but when we did go forward, we played well. We kept the ball. We kept patience. We didn't play any stupid passes when we were in possession on the left hand side and through the middle as well. And it was a good half. It was the best half of the season so far. It was. Dave's right.
Craig, happy with the point at the end of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the context of the overall game, I think the point we did well to come out of the point, to be honest. And as I said before, I think a lot of Spurs fans went in thinking this is going to be easy. They've had a rubbish start to the season. They're low in confidence. Blah blah blah. We should go and and dominate and win. We was never going to go there to West Ham and come away winning 3 or 4-0. It was just never going to happen. I think overall, it was good. I think I agree with Paul and Dave. I thought it was our best first half of the season for me as well. I think we played well, and as I said earlier on, we were lucky to come away with a point in the end. So snap the hands off, take it.
So just
move on.
Paul and Dave, this question. So best first half or best half? Because I think Southampton's second half was probably better. Am I wrong?
Logan is he's my cousin from New York. Hey, Logan, nice to meet you. I think that was probably our best half of football. Yeah, Southampton was good. I agree. I think that was our best first half. Started quickly, all the things we've spoken about, and if you watch us, we start so slow. We started really, really well. Got a goal, which unfortunately was disallowed, and then we stayed in it, and we showed that we could counter well when we put our mind to it. So yeah, I would say that's our best first half.
Best HG, I'm going to ask. Sorry, Dave. HG, which half is better? That's what I'm asking you, Dave.
My top half's better than my lower half. It was our best
when you get middle-aged, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. That was the best first half of the season because we start so slowly. I mean, everyone's going on about this. Is the second half against Southampton was the best half of the season, but Southampton were awful that day. Awful.
Yeah.
So come on.
Okay. Just going to put the stats up. So we had 62% of possession, but if you look at the passes, which is on this slide, dangerous attack 93, dangerous attack 38. So West Ham were far more effective, and I think around the 75th minute, Sky put up put up the graphic. Sorry, Paul. That although we had double the amount of passes, West Ham, they had far more passes in the final third than us because we were just playing around the back.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, I need to ask a question as well.
It's on dangerous attack. How do we decide what's a dangerous attack and not a dangerous attack?
No, I don't make flash score. You can ask them. Ask Matt Hayes. He might be able to tell you. Paul,
does Kane slip out? Does Kane slip out like a little kind of like a Leatherman from his sock and like starts attacking with menace? Is that seen as a dangerous attack? Like starts slashing at kind of like.
I'm guessing a dangerous attack is where we actually create chances and don't just pass the ball up to Emerson, come back 15 times and that sort of thing. But
is it when we put a balaclava on and a getaway car, we rob a bank? Is it? Dangerous attack. Have we got a slightly dangerous attack measure?
Well, we can.
Is it a slightly like menacing attack?
Someone looking threateningly at you from the other side of the pitch. Slightly dangerous attack.
To be honest, Dave, I was a lot more worried about West Ham in that second half than I thought we were going to score. I thought they looked far more likely to score.
Emerson going up. Emerson with the ball near their box is a slightly dangerous attack.
It's dangerous for us, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Phil. Wherever we went.
Right. Shall we? What are we going to do? Should we talk about Fulham next?
Yeah.
Lovely part of London.
There you go. Lovely graphic I stole off Google. So we have Fulham tomorrow.
Hang on a second. What's that stadium? Is that Fulham State? What?
Oh, that's Craven Cottage.
Yeah. Sorry. Where the hell was that? Carry on. Sorry, John.
How dare you attack my Googling?
You're very good. You're very good on Google.
For Fulham's form, they're playing well. I have to say they're a bit of a surprise package this season for me. Doing well. They were unlucky at the Goons last weekend. I was watching while I was in the studios at Disneyland. Dave wanted me to say about that. I was sat there on my phone in the cafe.
Mickey, Goofy, Pluto.
Yeah, all that lot. So Mitrovic, bit of a surprise package this year. Do you think, Paul? Because he was crap 2 years ago.
He was awful 2 years ago when he came up. Yeah.
There you go. Here's his stats.
Just I mean, last season in the Championship, he really was a cut above. Yeah, they play 4-2-3-1, don't they? They play double pivot, which with Reed and the new guy they've got, the young Portuguese guy, Rafaelin. I can't remember his name. But I watched them against Brighton on the Tuesday night, and Brighton are a good team. Mitrovic gave Dunk a real hounding, and Dunk's I think a pretty accomplished defender. He won everything, and Dunk is 6'4", 6'5", I believe, just under 2 meters tall. And Mitrovic won everything in the air, bullied him a little bit. Mitrovic looks much more ready to take on the challenge of the Premier League. I wouldn't be surprised he gets like 12 to 15, 18 goals this season. I think he's playing for point to prove as well. They don't mind going route one, as Dave would call it, like crazy gang 80s at the plough lane. They don't mind going like from back to front very quickly. They can play it through the midfield as well. Reed gets it in wide position. He's quite a tricky player. I like Marco Silva as well. I think he's, he himself has probably gone away and learned a bit like Mitrovic has and come back and, got stung a little bit by how he's treated at Watford. And come back and beginning to really apply some kind of like decent kind of principles to the team. Fulham will be fine, I think, if they keep Mitrovic. I mean, they've got the Vinicius, Carlos Vinicius is about now as well. They bought during the window. It's not going to be easy at all tomorrow. It's not going to be easy at all.
Okay, Craig, have you watched anything of Fulham this season? Oh, Craig's frozen. Dave?
I watched a bit of the game against Liverpool. I've got to be honest with you, and this is really, I didn't realise Marco Silva was their manager. That's bad, isn't it? That is bad. And, Marco Silva's got a bit of a reputation to repair after he kind of dumped Watford and went to Everton, and it didn't work out there. Surprise, surprise. So, Mitrovic, I kind of thought it was a Solomon Rondon of the Fulham. And, I think that he could cause problems tomorrow. I think they've started the season really well. I obviously had them tipped to go down with Bournemouth as a certainty. And we'll see how we go. But I think it's not going to be an easy game. It's not going to be an easy game. And I think someone raised a very good point about Romero not being that great in the air at times against Mitrovic. We need to watch that. And Sanchez gets very easily bullied in the air as well by the physical strikers as well. So that's a danger. I'm very worried about Carlos Vinicius off the bench because he's a great striker. He's got that lethal right foot that he just stands on to help with the left foot. And it's lucky that our home ground doesn't have, people in deck chairs and back gardens looking on, because that's where he performs well, like he did against Marine.
Exactly time. Craig, you froze for a minute. Have you seen anything of Fulham this year?
Yeah, I've watched a couple of the games. They've started brightly, haven't they? They look good. I think. They play. My concern for them tomorrow is what we do. That I think the risk for the benefit for us tomorrow is we are. I'm really worried about Mitrovic. I think he's been really good, and I think the guys have said about his aerial threat and how that can cause us problems. I think tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
Yeah,
tomorrow. Yeah,
3 o'clock tomorrow.
3 o'clock tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to going, to be honest, but I think it's going to be a real tough game for us. I'm worried that we're going to get outnumbered in the middle of the park as well. I think they're going to be up against our two in there, so it's going to be interesting. I think we've got to get at them, and we've got to get at them, in terms of our front three quick. So someone like Richarlison starting is key for me because he'll give them something to think about and get them facing, running backwards instead of looking forwards. So it's going to be tough. They're playing well. I actually think this is going to be a banana skin potentially for us if we're not at it. We've got to be at it tomorrow.
I'd say I am quite worried about this game. They have started well. They're playing a 4-2-3-1. So it depends if how much Pereira drops in and how much the two wingers drop back as well. But when we're quick, it doesn't matter what we're playing against. When we're quicker on it, it's really up to our mindset and how fast we're at. If we're a little bit off it, teams can overrun us, and that's where we've been going wrong. But we've got away with it so far to a certain degree.
Leno's been playing. Leno in the goalkeeper as well has been playing quite well. He pulled off some good saves. Obviously, he's playing his old club Arsenal last weekend, and he did a couple of really nice saves at Brighton from their guys the other night as well. So he's quite good as well. Yeah, but I think it's. I think we just got to go and start well and just impose ourselves on it. And I think we've got far from 1 to 11. We're better than them. And I'm not that bothered about Mitrovic up against Dyer because I think Dyer quite likes the physicality. I think he does all right. I don't think he gets bullied that often. I think he didn't get bullied the other night against what's his name?
Antonio.
Thank you, Dave. Antonio. I thought he dealt with him quite well. I don't remember Dyer. Maybe somebody in the comments can say I don't remember him getting really physically bullied, by much. I'm not that concerned about Dyer. It's if Mitrovic pulls off against Romero or even goes left against Davies. That could be a concern. And then somebody else like running off, getting a second ball, just as like we've talked about earlier. Like we don't seem to get a lot of second ball. That is away from home, but we're at home tomorrow. But it's Dyer against Mitrovic. If it's a straight 1-on-1, I'm really not that bothered about that. I think Dyer has got enough about him in his physical game to take care of that. Sorry, excuse me.
This is the transfer business they've done.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Let me get my glasses on again. Thank you.
So the last time they came up, they spent like 108 million or something stupid like that and went straight back down. What I think the on the Fulham pod, the guy was saying that Polinia looks like a real player.
That's his name, yeah, Polinia.
Polinia. We know Diop's a good player. Pereira's played, come from United, decent player. I don't know a lot about Mbappé. Vinicius, we never really got to see him in a run at Spurs. Willian, not convinced about that. Dan James will do all right. I think that's his level, to be honest.
James.
Solomon, no idea. Shane Duffy is only 30 years old. How is that?
Wasn't he in Boyzone, Shane Duffy?
Are you a big fan, were you?
I do love Ronan and the gang. Brilliant.
But yeah, I swear he's been around for years. And the other guys I know very little about. Do you know anything about those guys, Craig?
No, I know that nothing really. Dan James should have been a Spurs player, arguably. I'm joking, by the way. Yeah, no, not at all. I think, I can only go on what I've seen in them so far this season, and I think they're looking stronger than I think anyone thought they would have been this season. Like I said, I think I had them on my sweepstake as going down, strong favourites to go down, and it doesn't look like they look like they're going to buck that trend so far. So yeah, you'll see what tomorrow brings. But like I say, I think Paul mentioned it. If we're at it, it doesn't matter. It's if we're not at it, that's when there's problems.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously they made a lot of transfers, but not as many transfers as Forest. Who I think it was 19 in the end, was it?
21.
Pictures
21.
come out of their new team bus. Here it is.
All aboard the banter bus, and John's driving.
So I'll tell you what I'm just gonna check something quickly.
They've still got, by the way, at Fulham, they've still got Tottenham protege Josh Onoma. His loan move to West Brom fell through. He was actually at West Brom's ground meeting Steve, big
Bruce.
Steve, and seemingly it all fell through.
Callers, where's the bacon?
Where's the bacon?
Where's the bacon?
Where's the bacon? And also Patrick Kluivert, they try to get him as well. That Patrick Kluivert.
No, Justin Kluivert.
Justin Kluivert.
I thought, excuse me, Justin Kluivert, sorry. And he didn't have enough points or something. He hadn't played enough games to accrue enough points for something like that. Yeah. Sorry, Justin Kluivert, not Patrick Kluivert, excuse me.
Wouldn't he have a Dutch passport?
Yeah, but we're not in the EU anymore.
What? No one's told me. When's the Beatles' new album out?
Same time as Coldplay's. So last time we played Fulham was March 21. And we won by 1-0 at the Cottage with an own goal. And no, Alpash, I'm not going to Craven Cottage or Whitehall Lane tomorrow. And then the last game up the lane was a 1-1 draw. Do you remember that? It was just when it started going south under Jose.
When was the Nkudu cross with Harry Winks header?
That was 2 seasons before.
January 2019. That was the only,
January 2019. Yeah, that was Winks' last Premier League goal.
And that was the last. That was that period where we hadn't won away for ages. That was the last away win.
Yeah,
we didn't win away. And that was
and
the
Delhi. Kane was out. I think Son was out, and then Delhi pulled his hamstring in that game as well.
That's right. Yeah.
That was Poch, wasn't it? Was that Poch?
Yeah, but that was the year we got. That was
Poch.
Yeah, that was the season we got to the Champions League final, but in the league we were poor.
So
I miss Harry Winks. Just going to say it.
Well, we'll come to Winks. We will come to Winks. So I'm going to start with Craig because he hasn't spoken much recently. Craig, do you think we're going to make any changes? And if so, who?
Yeah, I think we'll make changes. I think Richarlison's a banker to start for Son. I think that's definitely going to happen. I think obviously Bentancur will come back in, no doubt. Well, it depends on. I don't know. Is anything being said about Højbjerg and his fitness? Is he fit for tomorrow? Has that been?
I think he's fit. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
I think Skip is fit as well.
Right. So I think he'll come back in for probably Basuma. I think we'll drop back out again. I think, as I said on the pod before, I think Højbjerg's his general on the pitch. I think whether we agree with that or not, I think that's how he sees it. So I think he'll start, and I think that we'll see. Potentially Sessegnon coming on the left for Perisic. I think he'll rest him. And I think that whether you like it or not, Royale will start. I expect him to stay at right wing back.
Dave, expecting anything different?
Yeah, Brian Hill will definitely start. He'll drop. He's going to drop Kane.
Hold on, I'm just going to mute him. Paul, can we have a serious conversation?
There's rumours about Romero might be back tomorrow. No.
Oh yeah, Romero. I forgot about Romero. He'll definitely come back in.
Yeah.
That's a gimme in it straight away.
Yeah.
I think he'll start Royale tomorrow. Emerson. Bentancur back in because he's passed all the protocols, and I would start with Richarlison. I would leave Perisic on the left. I think. I know we've got Champions League in the middle of the week, and tomorrow will be interesting because it will see how he wants to juggle the Champions League games with the Premier games. But yeah, for tomorrow, I'd start with Richarlison. I'd leave Son on the bench, and then see how he deals with that because that'll be a very new thing for Son to deal with. Be dropped on the bench for the last couple of seasons, I would start Perisic on the left, and then hopefully the game is done and dusted by about 55-60 minutes. Hopefully, touch wood, and then we can make the changes that we'd like to see. But yeah, I'm praying that Romero comes back in. I really am.
A very interesting theory was espoused on the pod recently, I believe, about the fact that Son's got to play the home games because of all the Korean tourists who are coming over, and we have yet to build the Hotspur Hilton Hotel yet, or the travel lodge, to put all these tourists in to stay. So there is that is a very interesting theory on the pod about you got to pick Son for the home games because of all the tourists. Whose car's
cannot
driving?
See. It's not me. It's South London, isn't it?
South London, isn't it?
South London. I cannot see Conte towing the line with that.
Absolutely not.
Can't.
And it's just gobbledygook. It's not true. It's just not true.
No, but it's a theory. I'm not saying it's a fact, but it was an interesting theory put forward.
Yeah. Would you like to play the little game that we've developed? We played this last season a few times. Which players have played for both Fulham and Spurs? Join along in the chat. I'll start with Dave, and I actually counted over 20. I was really surprised how many there are. I'll try and highlight them as you say them so I don't go over them again. So, Dave, do you want to go?
Do you want me to go obscure or non-obscure?
Do what you like.
Let's go obscure. John Lacey signed in the same summer as Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa. A man so thin he had to run around in the showers to get wet.
What's he done? Oh, yeah.
Josh Onoma.
Indeed, yes. Craig's having kittens now.
No, I've got one, I think, but I'm just doubting it. Berbatov?
Berbatov, indeed, yeah. Scored against Spurs at the Lane as well,
Yeah.
didn't he, for Fulham? Dave?
I thought Lewis Holtby played for.
Oh,
Fulham.
I was going to.
He did play for them, yeah.
That's a great shout.
Yeah.
Scott Parker.
Did he
Simon
actually play
Davies?
for them or just, yeah? Simon Davies did, yeah?
Is it me again?
Yeah.
Stephen Kelly.
I've got
Stephen
one.
Kelly.
Stephen Kelly was one of the random ones, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, what's his name? Midfielder, was always on TalkSport, spouts crap about Spurs all the time. Lex
Yeah,
Liverpool.
yeah, that's the one. Think about that, Paul. Don't cheat, steal it from him.
Goalie. No. Stupid.
There's a couple of keepers.
Yeah. Okay. No, but I'll go with Clint Dempsey.
Indeed, Clint Dempsey.
Oh,
Yes,
great shout.
Have we done Steve Malbronk?
we hadn't, but we can add him now if I can find him. Where have I put him? There he is.
I've got a really obscure one actually.
I've got one as well now.
Go on then, Dave. While Craig's thinking.
I got a feeling Alan Mullery.
Yep, Alan Mullery played for Fulham. We signed him, and I think he went back there on loan as well for a bit.
He did in the Glory Game book. Great book.
So keepers, I'm thinking Keller.
Correct.
Yep.
There's another one from more recently.
I've got another obscure one.
Brad Friedel.
Yeah, Brad. Did Brad Friedel play that? I haven't got him on my list.
I don't know.
I've got a feeling that after he was released in 1998, Gary Mabbott went to Fulham.
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to Google that one. I'll have to check that.
No, he didn't. No, he went to.
I thought he retired.
I thought he went to Fulham for a bit.
I'll tell you in a minute. How are we doing? Have we missed? No, Spence didn't. Zamora, Cameron's got.
Bobby
Very
Zamora. Who's the Argentinian goalie with the really good-looking eyes? Celia.
Gazzaniga.
Really
That's
fast.
the one. There we
Gazzaniga.
go. No, Gary Mabbott played for Bristol Rovers and Spurs. That's it.
He never went to Fulham.
No, apparently not.
All right.
Yeah, so we've got Zamora. Do you want me, I'll tell you, you've forgotten another Davis.
Simon Davis.
From the Frank Arneson time.
Oh, what's his face? You know, he went to Pompey as well, didn't he?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, fuck, what's his
Sean
name?
Davis.
Sean Davis. Sean Davis. And obviously, Yole managed both clubs.
He did. Somebody from the 61 double team. Terry.
Medwin.
Dyson.
Dyson.
Any left? Any left? How many have we got left?
Oh, bloody loads. Frank Osborne played for Fulham between 21 and 24, and then played from Spurs. Played 210 games, scored 78 goals for Spurs between 24 and 31.
Yeah.
Biff Jones, apparently. Played for
The
Fulham.
Welsh wizard.
Yeah. Danny Murphy's who you were trying to get, Craig.
That's him.
Danny Murphy.
Paul Stalteri, Michael Brown, Paul Konchesky, Wayne Routledge, Laguna, Darren Bent, Adel Tarat, Louis Sahar.
Oh, Zaha as well.
Zaha,
Who's been the best central midfielder we've had in the last?
Dembele.
Yeah,
Modric.
Dembele.
Of course.
I think that's everyone I've got. Yeah,
There's been a few,
there's been loads. Yeah.
It's a lovely ground. It really, it's on the bank. It's, you go Putney, you can get there. You can some nice restaurants and drinks in Putney. You go across and park, and it's there, and it's lovely, and it's easy to get to, easy to get away. Never any trouble. So it's great. I did see today that for a child to go in a new stand in one of the rows, it's £70 for a junior. To go in a new stand.
Wow.
In one of the tiers.
Oh wow. It's a nice stand, and it's close to the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah.
It
does look good.
Right. I'm just gonna bring up some comments that Dan Kilpatrick put up on Twitter from Conte's press conference today. So that just to delight Dave.
Well, what's the matter?
So Conte's view of the transfer window summed up here. We want to continue to improve. We're working very well. I'm happy to have the squad, the new players. We're totally inside the dressing room. We did the right things. But if someone thinks we're completed the situation, we are far from this. And he also said he was sober on the transfer window, saying he did what the club could do, but there is still too much distance between the top PL teams. He adds, for this reason, we have to know that we've just started this process. But this was also came through that he was not enthusiastic about the short-term prospects of Spence, Hill and Sarr. Jed was an investment of the club. He's perfect prospect at Tottenham, but for sure, if we want to win other things, other signings, I want to be clear about this. And he also played down the suggestion that Spurs have had an advantage over rivals for doing their business early. If you sign a player for 80 to 100 million on the last day, you have a big advantage because you're signing the top player. He points out the Spurs only really spent money on Richarlison and Bissouma. So it sounds like, I mean, I've seen some comments earlier. It sounds like he's annoyed, but he's sort of at ease with it, Paul.
I think he's being smart. I think he's playing the same kind of game he did last season. There's no point in him like shouting and screaming all the time to get what he wants and try and to piss off the owners and to make Don Fabio's job a little bit harder. I think he's making it clear that, you know, he's probably like maybe 65-70% happy, but obviously he's never going to say he's 100% happy because he didn't get a right wing back ready made, and he obviously didn't get a left centre back that he needed as well. If we start losing a few games, I think you'll probably see he'll start to change his tune a little bit as well. I would call the window 7.5 out of 10. I think it was good. I think that what I'm hearing from Conte at the moment means he might be here after his current deal finishes, by the looks of things. But then again, that might be part of the ongoing kind of dance he does to keep people on tenterhooks to try and like obviously increase the value of his own kind of like if his own kind of stock within the club, etc., and to try and play hardball with Levy and get a better deal for himself. But they were interesting comments for sure. They were, yeah. I genuinely don't think he cares what he says to the press. I don't. I think you.
I like the way Dave was limbering up there. He was stretching out, getting ready for his rant. I'm just going to, just before Lindy, yes, he did say 3 more transfer windows to get all the players he wanted. I guess part of the problem we've got is a lot of the players that have gone out are only on loan. So there's no guarantee they won't be coming back to us next summer. Hopefully, most of them we can get rid of. Craig, I can't remember what I was going to ask you. So I will go to Dave and I've got a specific question for you, Craig, in a minute.
Look, I think, in terms of the window, I would rate it as 6 out of 10. And the window this time last year was a 3 out of 10. Okay. I think if you look at the players that we got in, Perisic improves the starting 11. I think Bissouma improves the starting 11. And I think Richarlison improves the starting 11, right? Spence, who knows? Forster is very sensible backup goalkeeper. Saints fans, I know, are disappointed he left. English quota, all that kind of stuff. So no problem with that at all. Longley, I'm extremely underwhelmed about the purchase of Longley. I know that Kohler thinks he's going to displace Ben Davies in the team. We'll see how that goes. Conte's never going to be happy. He's a serial winner. He demands the best. The fact of the matter is that Ancelotti, I think, is retiring at the end of this season. So the Madrid gig is going to be up. Conte potentially could go there. But the reality is, and Paul said this on the pod as well, is that, this is it for Enoch. We're really going to see whether they truly are going to invest in the team. The 150 mil, the small print was up to 150 mil and on and off the pitch activities. I would like to have seen us make another statement, one more statement signing. I think our creativity and unlocking teams is with Kane, to be honest with you. And that first half against West Ham, dropping deep, bringing in Son Kulusevski, he's our playmaker, which is both a good and bad thing. It's a 6 out of 10. I think we all got very excited about this injection of cash from the owners after 20 odd years of being in charge. And we'll see what happens. But Conte's never going to be happy. There's also a massive anti-Tottenham agenda in the media. We all know that. BBC, Sky, they love to make mischief with us. They've been trying to sell Kane for 10 years. And they're going to every word that Conte says is going to be leapt on. So it's par for the course. So I'm not that bothered about his comments. It is what it is.
I remember the question. It was obviously we saw Conte very up and down in press conferences after games. How much do we read into these comments, really?
We don't really. I think Paul said it. He's not going to say anything different to what he said. I think overall he is happy at Tottenham. If he was unhappy at Tottenham and he was unhappy, he didn't feel he was given what he was promised by the club, he would have quit. He's got no hesitation in walking out. He's done it in other clubs. I think he's more than happy with what we've done. He said it himself that the club's done what they can do. I think the club would have done more if their top targets were available for them to get. I think reality is the dominating centre back we wanted to get in Bastoni wasn't available. So you can say we should have chucked 60, 70, 80 million at it. If he's not ready to come, he's not going to come. There's nothing more you can do. So, I would much rather see Tottenham do what they're doing now. They've got a clear plan in place. And if your top target's not available, wait. Be patient and wait for the next window to try and bring that player in again. And don't panic buy crap, which is what we've done in previous years and has left us in the situation where we've got 3, 4, 5 players we can't shift. So I think there's a clear strategy in place. I think Conte's comments have alluded to that strategy. He said, the fact he's talking about 3 transfer windows says he's in this for the long haul. He's bought into what we're trying to do as a team. He keeps talking about this is a long-term project. It's going to take time. We've got to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. Is it? I think a lot of the issue, and sorry, I know you've got your hand up, Paul, is the we've had a great window. I think, Paul rated it 7.5. I think that's about right. I think it is a 7.5 out of 10 window. I think Spurs fans and the meltdown that we've seen on social media, particularly about the comments today, is more to do with the fact of what Chelsea have done and the scattergun approach and the money that Chelsea have put at different players, and it's made our transfer window look worse than it actually is. But when you look at it in the cold light of day, we have improved our squad. There's no doubt we've improved our squad. I've said on this pod before, we was not going to go out, in my opinion, and buy a centre attacking midfielder, creative midfielder. It's not what Conte wants or felt was needed as a priority position for him in this team, the way he wants to play. So fans shouldn't be surprised that we haven't gone out and splashed 60, 70, 80 million on Maddison. It was never going to happen. So, I think Conte's got what he wanted for now. He said himself it's going to take another 2-3 transfer windows to get where he wants. And I've got no doubt these top targets that we couldn't get this year will be back in for again next summer and we'll improve the squad again.
Well, there's a raid in South London again. So, talking about
it's all kicking off outside. Yeah, go on.
So Ben Jacobs put this up earlier about the Premier League spend, and I think this is the real reason why we haven't been able to shift players other than loan. Is the Premier League has been where all the spending's been. You look at the other leagues. If you look at the right-hand tweet there, the net spend is over $1 billion for the Premier League. The next biggest league is 46 million. Serie A 3 million net spend. Ligue 1 has made a profit, and the Bundesliga has made a profit.
Ligue 1.
These clubs are Ligue 1. These clubs are having to make a profit because they're not financially. We said this at the beginning of the summer that we would probably end up to be a lot of loans because teams don't have the money, except for the likes of PSG who are bankrolled. Most of these clubs don't have the money, which is why we're having to loan players out and hope we can sell them next year when these clubs are on a better footing.
Non-Premier League football is skin. You can see that, right? Why would you try and take a Premier League player like Winks on 115,000 pounds a week when you can go into the European market where these clubs will probably give you a better value for your money, more bang for your buck, whatever you want to call it. Take a really good 22, 23-year-old from an Italian team or from a German team or even maybe a Spanish team, rather than spending all that money on Winks. It's a no-brainer. So therefore, those figures there don't really surprise me at all. Just to go back to the transfer, just let you go back for 30 seconds. Everything that Craig said there was right as well. Also, as well, fan base starting to get a bit twitchy with what down the road are doing. It's also against this backdrop of like they're top of the league. They're unbeaten, etc. They've got Jesus, and he seems to have been doing quite well. One swallow does not make a whole summer, does it? Let's see where they are in it, like after international break, or even when they play somebody decent. Okay, it's been a good window, but obviously there's been a meltdown, quote unquote, because Chelsea have thrown some money around. We were all a bit dubious about what the new owners would do after Roman, about the government taking control of the club. It's obviously quite clear that Mr. Todd is going to carry on spending and throwing money at the problem in the situation. That's quite clear now. So therefore, we've got a little bit kind of like shook about that as well. But our window is fine. If you look at our window in isolation, it's part of an ongoing thing. And I do trust Don Para, and I trust Conte. I didn't trust Don Para after he tried to get Nuno in. I didn't trust Don Para when he was getting people like Hill in. And I've never heard of Kulusevski, and I never heard of Bentancur. I call Bentancur a Uruguayan Nabil Bentaleb on this very, very program, and I've been proven wrong. So they've earned their trust. If they're going after players, okay, so Dan James might be an outlier, but if they're going after players and there's a long-term strategy at play, then we've just got to be patient, which is difficult for our fan base, and we've just got to play the long game and just keep our nerve. That's what we've got to do. We've got a great coach. It seems like we've got a plan, and we've got a structure, and we've upgraded the scouting network. We brought in the Icelandic guy. We brought in a couple of other players, head of analytics and stuff. We've got some North physios in, and the medical department, and all these things. We're being run better as a club of our stature should be. So just be patient. Just be patient.
We was never going to, was we, close the gap between where we were and the top teams. That was never going to happen. So the fact
not in one window.
Not in one window, exactly. So the fact Conte's made that point, and there's elements of our fan base on social media that have jumped on that, say we've not backed him, we've not given him what he wants. We could have, you need to sign 3 or 4 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 million pound players to get close to closing the gap between those top teams. So, we have improved our squad. The measure will be at the end of the season how many points we are closer to Man City and Chelsea and Liverpool. That's going to be the measure. I do think we are going to close the gap with the window we've had. I think that Liverpool, aren't as strong. They haven't strengthened in the way that they could have done this summer. I think we're going to close the gap on Liverpool. I think Man City and Haaland have suddenly become a different animal, and I think that's going to be interesting. But we are going to end up with more points than we did last season. We are going to improve. We will be in the top 4, I've got no doubt. We'll probably be closer to 3rd, if not 3rd. And then we'll go again next summer, and we'll sign a couple more top targets, and we'll improve again. I've got every confidence. And the 150 million, I just want to make this point because it really narks me on social media about we've not spent 150 million, blah, blah, blah. The club have never said we're going to spend 150 million. They never set that as a budget. All they said was, as part of the share offering, that we can pull down 150 million, and they only pulled down 100.
Yeah.
They've not pulled down the full 50. So we haven't spent 150 million net, and it's all rubbish and all this stuff. It's just not true. It's not reflective. And I've got no doubt, by the way, we'll sign someone in January as well. 1 or 2 players in January as well, I'm sure.
Go on, Dave.
It's not 150 million. It's up to 150 million.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's on and off the field, right? And, I know I have an agenda. I know I don't like our owners, and nothing's going to change my mind on that. But the reality is that you have to read the small print with our owners, because that's just the way they are, right? But I'm not going into that conversation now. I just think that if you look at the signings that we made, I think Perisic is definitely a Conte signing. You'd think you can make an assumption that he wanted Perisic. We got him in, right? I think that Richarlison, and the way he talks about Richarlison, he's someone who definitely Conte wanted to get in, right? And I think the same goes. I think the same goes for Basuma. I know he said that he's behind Højbjerg and Bentancur, but that's good. It gives him a kick up the arse. And then if you look at the others, Forster, horses for courses, Longley. Not sure whether Conte would have really. I think Conte obviously would have wanted his top targets, and then Spence. The thing that worries me is our track record of buying lower league or youngsters with potential has been appalling, right? And Paratici is more than happy in his interviews to extol the virtues of Bentancur, Romero, and Kulusevski. He doesn't talk about Emerson and Gil that much, right? So, for me, the jury's still out on Paratici. Obviously, the way that we've reorganised the football infrastructure at the club is a positive thing. And it's obvious that the way it feels like more or less Levy is far less involved in the footballing decisions is a positive thing because he hasn't got a clue about football.
Mm-hmm.
And there they are.
Okay, yeah. So there's the and there's I couldn't find with Udogie in it. There's a picture of Udogie with Kulusevski. We've already discussed. We think he's going to be a very good player when he comes in if he can adapt to the English league. It's exciting times. Could be the end of Sess's Spurs career though potentially.
I think also part. Can I just a finishing point now? I know we want to move on. Sorry, it won't be a long point. 30 seconds. Is that I think part of Paratici's remit has got to be thinking post Conte, hasn't he? Yeah. That's got to be part of his job description, Dave. Yeah.
I agree.
I know that Conte, is about now, and he's not that worried about youth coming through. And I think that's probably why he kind of distanced himself from the Spence signing, or a little bit of that, right? I get that, but I think Paratici would not be having the club's interests at heart if part of his job remit wasn't looking for post Conte, so players in 2, 3, 4 years time. And I believe that's why they brought in the Icelandic guy Gur Steinsson, I think his name is, and these guys. I think Paratici has got a difficult juggling it. He's got a very demanding, he is the proverbial rock between two hard places. Conte wants now, and obviously Levy wants success, but Paratici's got to think about, well, Conte not be here in 2 or 3 seasons, then what we got. If I go out and get him what he wants, I've got 3 or 4 players on big contracts near the end of their careers, which a new manager might not want, and we can't get rid of. There's all that balancing act. So I think Don Fabio's got a very, very difficult job in some. I mean, I'd love to have that job. Don't get me wrong, but I think what he's doing at the moment, he's balancing it very, very well with Spence and a Destiny and people like this.
I think to answer the question from Jethro Zulu about who signed Ndombele, I think generally it was Pochettino wanted him. Pochettino wanted him and the Chelsea, whereas the club were looking at the likes of Bruno Fernandes, who had a good start, and obviously it maybe wouldn't be our favourite player if we had signed him. But the club were looking at other options, and Mr. Hitchin, who has come out with a lot of abuse from all Spurs fans, including us, actually wanted to sign different options. But Pochettino wanted those players, and Daniel Levy went and got him.
It's not all on Hitchin, as far as I'm concerned. But
no,
I mean,
I'm sure it isn't. I'm sure.
No. But I think to round off this conversation, I think we also need to think about those teams who are around us. So I think Newcastle have had a very, very sensible window.
Oh God, yeah.
Right? Yeah. They've had a really sensible window. They've signed that striker,
Isaac.
Yeah, and they've addressed that because Wilson was a great player, but he never keeps fit. And they've got Pope in, who's a good goalkeeper.
Yeah,
and I think they've had a very sensible, good window, and they're doing it through evolution. And I think they're going to be up there. They're going to be up there. United, for all that we laughed at them and things like that, it may be that Ten Hag's starting to put it together. I mean, they were dog shit awful last season, and it still annoys me they took 6 points off us. However, they've got that. They brought in the what's his face from Real Madrid, who's although it's 60 million for a 30-year-old, still a sensible signing. So
Casemiro.
So I wouldn't underestimate them. And the other thing I want to take my hat off to is Barcelona. They got Aubergine for free off the Gooners. They've sold them. To Chelsea. Now let me get this right. They've sold them to Chelsea for 20. And how much did they pay for? How much did they pay for Lewandowski?
Didn't pay. It's free.
Yeah. So I mean, Barcelona.
There was a fee in the end. There was a fee.
So Barcelona, for all them going on about how skint they are, they've done very well. Well done.
Yeah, they're absolutely class. Fair play to what they've done generally. God, Lewandowski's 34. Goodness me. Right, I'll come back to that. So, should we go on to? Should we talk about transfers, or should we do the big event of the night, Dave? Should we just finish?
I'd love to do the big event night, but did we do a prediction for the Fulham game? I don't think we did we?
Oh no, should we do that? Let's go on then, Dave. What do you want to do?
I think it's going to be a tough old game. I think we'll win 1-0.
Craig?
2-1.
That's what I'm going for. Oh.
3-1.
Dog staple. 3-1. I think 2-1. Mitrovic will score for them. I don't know who's
Yeah, I agree.
I think they'll
agree.
score first as well, John. That's my prediction. They'll score first.
Probably. And then
That's going to be a lovely watch inside the stadium, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, my wife's working all day tomorrow, so I've got the kids. I've got to ferry them back and forth to auditions for the local theatre and try and watch the game. Oh, it's going to be a right pain.
What show are they auditioning for, John?
The Chichester Festival Theatre for the Christmas production.
Right.
Yeah, it's
And what-
quite. Yeah.
What is the
I
Christmas
don't know what it is.
production?
I don't know, but the Festival Theatre, Chichester Festival Theatre, is basically the main theatre outside the West End. It's like big time. But
So
they always use they use the kids' youth theatre for the Christmas productions there.
Behind you.
Does that mean
They
you're going
don't
to be?
do no. They don't do that at the Festival Theatre, darling. The Panto's at Bognor Theatre, not at Chichester, darling. Do you know that?
Does that mean you're going to become a showbiz dad?
I already am. Did you not see my son hosting last night?
Sorry. Yes. Sorry. Well, I did see
Oh,
him because I was on the
you
same
there.
show as him. Yeah.
Absolutely. And didn't he do a good job? Didn't he,
He
do
did.
well?
Didn't he do well? He did do well.
Cuddly toy. Right, here we go. This is what you've all been waiting for. The big event of the year. We had Lamella Mind. We had Jack Clark Mind. Of course, it's Winks Mind.
Do I need to get my Ronnie Craig glasses on again?
No, because the questions I'm just going to read off this sheet that I wrote on Sunday while I was in Paris.
Good.
I didn't tell you. I was trying to watch the game, the Forest game, while I was at the top of the Eiffel Tower. Just about got signal. I was holding my 3-year-old because she was just running around, which was giving me the heebie-jeebies, I have to say.
For the last couple of
Nick
minutes,
wasn't
you talked about being like dad, like showbiz dad. Now you're like European dad, and now you're like top of the Eiffel Tower with a 3-year-old running around, but trying to watch Tottenham at the same time. It's just such a hipster, John. You are a hipster.
I think I am.
It's Father's Day tomorrow here in Australia.
What are you getting me, Dad?
What?
Anyway, so Harold Winks,
Yes.
he made his Premier League debut as a substitute in August 2016. My question is, which season did he make his first team debut? It was in a European game. Anyone got the answer to that? No?
I can have a guess.
Yeah, go on.
I'm going to guess at 2014.
It was November 2014 against FK Partizan in the Europa League. Have a guess who he replaced.
Bentaleb.
Lewis Holtby.
No, Paulinho.
Paulinho.
Who did he make his... So he made his Premier League debut in August 2016, replacing Christian Eriksen.
Eriksen, yeah.
Who was it against?
August
One
when?
all draw. August 16. 1-1 draw. At home.
At home.
Yeah. I'll even give you a clue. Danny Rose scored the equaliser.
Not Arsenal.
Not Arsenal.
It was against
Hempstead.
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
As Dan Harrison, West Ham, he made his Premier League full start against West Ham.
So what's the question?
What was the score in that game?
The West Ham
3-1.
game?
Yeah.
3-1.
3-2.
3-2. Yes, he scored the equaliser.
Great shout, Dave.
Well done,
Come
Dave.
on.
Good work.
How many appearances? I'll give you 10 either way here. You can all have a go. I'll go 5 either way. How many appearances in all competitions, Dave, did he make for Tottenham Hotspur?
297.
Okay, Paul?
Not that many. 225.
Ooh.
Craig?
185.
Ooh.
Just doing the maths. Craig is just 203. Craig just wins that one.
Fucking East Midlands Spurs.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Whoa. Look at Adrian. Oh, that was quite close.
East Midlands Spurs, all they do is talk about Harry Winks all day long.
Mate, we've got a shrine for him in our WhatsApp group.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
How many goals did he score in all competitions, Dave, for Spurs?
Not many.
The West Ham goal.
Fulham goal. Fulham goal.
Yeah, the
Fulham
header.
goal?
Yeah. I'm going 7.
Yeah, I'll go 9.
I'm going to go 8.
It was 5.
Ooh.
So he scored against Wickham, didn't he, in that FA Cup game? He scored that freak cross.
Oh yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't remember.
What was that one? Was the one in the Europa League when he got it from halfway line?
Yeah,
that's
the
the
one I
free
mean.
cross. That was the free cross.
Oh, it was against Morecambe, wasn't it?
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's the 5. How many international caps has he got for England, Dave?
As opposed to Marley.
So, how many full caps has he got?
How many full caps has he got? I'm going 7 again.
10.
Yes. 4.
Paul Muir is spot on. It's 10.
Ah, well done. Well done.
I'm
Hey, more
surprised
Hempstead
there's that many,
Iniesta.
How many
How many
5-yard passes
Can
has he played?
anyone remember? And believe it or not, he actually scored a goal. Can you remember who it was against? This is very obscure.
His England goal?
Yeah.
He scored
San
for
Marino.
England.
He scored in November 19 for England. So not even that long ago.
So you're going San Marino. I'm going Luxembourg.
Nope. No for both.
We'll have a clue.
Kosovo in a 4-0 win.
Kosovo.
We all went.
That's basically all I've got about Harry Winks. Because I couldn't be bothered to look at how many backward passes he's made because it'd be thousands.
And you know what his middle name is?
Paula? No. What's his middle name?
Billy.
Oh.
They came up with a cheese room quiz over the summer, of which I'm the current champion, just to be clear. Anyway, moving on.
I mean, we are.
Did you not lose the last one? Was there not a recent one you lost?
No, I won the recent.
Oh, you lost the first one, right? Okay.
Yeah, because Franco was like, "Home days" the whole time.
Oh,
very defensive.
I think it's also he will be back. He's going to be back next summer. You know, he's not. It's a loan, isn't it? Without an option to buy, it will be interesting to see how he does over there. Actually, in terms of the style of football.
Sampdoria have lost their first 3 games and not scored a goal yet. Yeah, so they obviously he's not going to help them, is he? With that,
no.
So is East Midlands Spurs doing a jolly day out in Sampdoria to watch him play?
I mean, it sounds like they do want to come and join us, is what I'm hearing.
If I can.
Sampdoria is Genoa, babe.
Genoa's lovely. It's nice there.
I knew that.
Wasn't it cool that he didn't have a clue?
My GCSE geography grade C came in well. I knew that.
1988. 1988. First year of GCSEs. How many takes?
Sorry, I forgot this question from King Hoddle. How many takes did it take him to get the tea bag in the cup?
Good luck to him.
Yeah, I wish him best of luck.
Indeed. Good luck to all the players. I wrote a list of players we linked with fairly recently. I'll just run through it. So Ziyech. Today I read Pulisic. Apparently we were trying for in the last couple of days. I don't know why we were trying to go for Chelsea players. Traore, Yannick Carrasco, Dan James, Gelson Martins, Malinowski, Anthony Gordon. We were linked with when we signed Richarlison, and obviously been linked with Chelsea recently. Pau Torres, Hincapi, Bastoni, Zaniolo, Ashley Phillips from Blackburn, and James Garner, who's just gone from United to Everton.
That's just a few of the players.
Will Zaha as well.
Can we do a game of predicting the scores for this weekend that we did? Have you got it?
Yeah, absolutely. I have got that somewhere.
I did enjoy that because it brings out our prejudices against different clubs. I do enjoy that. Obviously, Craig, you're conflicted because Leicester are in that. So let's see.
I'm not. I've got lots of prejudices against Leicester, so that's fine.
Okay.
Right. What do you want to do? Do you want to all go? Do you want to do game by game? You all do one, or just pick one game each?
Game by game. Come on.
Okay, go on then, Dave. Merseyside derby, Dave.
All right, my Ronnie Craig glasses are back on. I'd like to see Everton win it, and then Klopp brings out yet another excuse. Probably it's an early morning kickoff or something like that, and he hasn't hasn't had his schnitzel in the morning. So I'm going Everton.
Good point, Adrian. Okay. Oh,
Liverpool win that 3 or 4-0.
hi.
Yeah, Liverpool 3-1.
Craig, Brentford, Leeds.
2-2.
3-2 at Brentford.
2-0 Brentford.
Okay. I think Leeds will score. I'll maybe go 3-2 to Brentford because there's been quite a few goals in the games. Dave, Chelsea, West Ham.
Two clubs that are just such lovely clubs with lovely supporters. What I'd like to see happen is an intergalactic raid from an alien space station that seals up the stadium and no one leaves ever again. But other than that, 1-1.
An away win, 2-1.
What you been drinking? Are you still drunk, Dave, from last night?
I am.
Sorry,
It's 80s night. I'll go 2-1 West Ham, away win.
Craig?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I mean, Chelsea haven't really turned up apart from against us this season, so I'm going to go for West Ham 1-0.
I can see that being. I mean, Chelsea's problem is a goal scorer, isn't it?
Yeah.
I reckon I can see it being a draw on that one. And I didn't say about the Merseyside derby. I reckon Liverpool win that. Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Dave.
I think it's a triumph for the sports washers. So Newcastle will win 2-0 against the Palace.
Yeah, Newcastle are going to do that. I'd say, they're beginning to click, I think. Isaac up the front scored during the week. I'd go, 3-1. I think Palace will score. I think Zaha is playing really, really well. Elise's doing well. So, 3-1 Newcastle.
Right?
Yeah, 2-1 Newcastle.
I think, Palace are playing well. I'm going to go 2-1 as well to Newcastle. Forest, Bournemouth, I'm going to go 2-0 Forest. Craig?
I'm going to go 3-0 Forest, and Bournemouth deserve it.
I'm going to go 5-0 Forest, and Bournemouth double deserve it.
I'm going to go 1-0 Bournemouth and make Parker look stupid.
Serious question, guys. What is your view on this? Because did Parker deserve to? Do you think there's more to it than just the 9-0 defeat?
Yeah.
Because he was sort of bummed out of Fulham. They didn't seem bothered to get rid of him at all at Fulham, did they?
No.
And he went to Bournemouth. There's something obviously not quite right there.
I think they wanted him to wear a club cardigan, but he wanted to wear his own cardigan. And that's why they got rid of him. It's a lovely cardigan.
We've done Spurs, Fulham, Wolves, Southampton. I actually fancy Southampton to pull off a win there because they're playing well at the moment, although they are a bit up and down. Dave?
I think the sports washers from Hampshire will win 1-0.
I'll go with 2-1 win. 2-1 away win for Southampton there.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw. Score draw.
And how many goals for Haaland for Man City, Craig?
Oh God. They're going to absolutely trounce Villa, and I can see it being Gerrard's last game as well. By the way, in terms of their manager, I think it's going to be comfortable 4-5. Haaland will probably get another hat trick.
Oh,
yeah, I think it's going to be a high scoring one there, and I can't see Gerrard being there for much longer with Craig. So 4-0 City away, done in 50 minutes.
I read a very surprising article in the Telegraph this morning from Jamie Carragher saying that they should persist with Stevie G. Who'd have thought?
I'm shocked.
I was really surprised about that. I really was.
Do you know what I'm more surprised about, Dave? That you read the Telegraph.
Well, I read the Telegraph. It's got excellent sports coverage, and if I want to know about where I can go fox hunting on the weekend, it's very important. I'd like to see City beat Villa 5-0. I'm going to captain Haaland in my fantasy team. I know that's revolutionary, and I want the media loving with Stevie G. They're scrambling around seeing how they can save him from what he is a man out of his depth, and I think Poch will go there. That's my prediction.
No.
No, why is that?
going then, boys?
Where's Poch going?
He's waiting for the Newcastle job, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just think he's better than Villa. I like to. That's maybe just my sentimental bit to me, but I'll be really disappointed if he chose Villa. I think there's better clubs for him.
Such as?
I think Newcastle's a great shout. Actually, I think Newcastle. I mean, I don't want to see him back in the Premier, if I'm being honest, but that's just me again being emotionally tied to the guy, and I don't want to see him up against Spurs. But yeah, I think there's just bigger clubs. He's got more choice than Villa, in my view.
Do you want to see him back at Tottenham?
No,
Well,
I'm over it.
Okay.
And that's not because, and that's, by the way, that's not being controversial in terms of Poch was amazing for us, wasn't he, and everything he did, and I'm not undermining any of that, but you've got to move on, haven't you? And I think
I agree.
Conte's allowed us to move on.
I agree.
Right,
Kasabian have moved on, so we need to move on as well.
So Potter
Brighton
versus Rodgers.
Yeah, he's Brighton at home, really, really good. They'll bounce back after Fulham midweek. They'll beat Leicester 3-1 to put more pressure on Brendan Rodgers, not Brazilian Brendan.
Hang on. So I'd like to see Potter as our next manager, and I'd like to see Rodgers is preparing all his excuses. And I'd like to see Brighton beat Leicester. Plus, Brighton's a lovely place to go to. I do like Brighton. Nice weekend at Brighton. Yeah. Lovely.
So Villa Leicester, the new El Sacco is next week. That'll be quite an interesting one.
That will be.
That will be.
Craig?
Brighton's my hometown, so I've got a little soft spot for Brighton. So pre Leicester days, I lived down south. And I'm going to go comfortable Brighton win. And I actually think that will be Rodgers' last game.
Did you spend an evening at the Zap Club, Craig?
I can't say I did, no.
I did.
What about the event 2? Did you go to the event 2, Craig, back in the day?
No.
I went to Zap Club, Escape. Fantastic. Anyway, what are we talking about next? Man United versus Arsenal.
This is an interesting game.
Yeah, this will be.
A lot of traffic. All those United fans coming up from Surrey to North London. I know a group of guys from down in Bognor here who drive up to every game. There's loads of them. Excellent. Yeah. I think United are going to win. Actually, I think they're going to win 2-1.
Yeah, I see United beating Arsenal. I see the Arteta bubble bursting. He can bring all the lamps he wants into the changing room and switch them on and tell the guys how he met his wife, and he has to be brave and go and talk to the girls in the nightclubs and all that kind of big tech psychology that he did in the All or Nothing documentary. Ten Hag is beginning to get them clicking now as well. He's got some young players there that really want to do well for United. I can see them winning that 3-1.
What music do you think Arteta would have played on the side of the pitch at London Colney this week to prepare the Goons for the United away game? What do you think?
The difficult second album from the Stone Roses, but the remix version by Nightmares on Wax.
You see, I think the difficult second album by the Stone Roses, The Second Coming, is an extremely good album.
Yeah, well, you would think that though, because you think you're like, bloody Mr. Cool when it comes to music, don't you? But
Mr. Cool from 1994, yes, not now.
Daniel agrees. Sound of rats running around the stadium. Oh,
Good point.
Craig?
Oh, Craig, you with us? No, he's frozen.
He's
yeah.
Oh, there he is. He's back.
I'm here.
Yeah,
sorry. I'm my heart wants United to win comfortably. My head says it will be a draw. I don't think United they weren't that convincing against Leicester. I didn't think last night they weren't the best. I just think that would be a draw. But I would love them to do Arsenal and burst that bubble.
Craig, do you mind me asking about your backdrop? I mean, are you in a warehouse or something?
No, I'm in my kitchen conservatory extension thing. So it's a glass roof.
A kitchen conservatory extension. That sounds
But it's
very
not a
posh.
conservatory. It's an extension, and we had a glass roof put in.
Did you?
Craig.
Did you?
Craig,
get-
is it the garage? You're in the garage.
I'm not. I'm totally not in the garage. To be fair, no.
I do hope you got all the requisite planning permissions from the local council. to do
Permitted
Oh,
development.
God,
permitted
bar off.
Obviously, Arsenal had an extra day's rest as well because United had to play last night rather than Wednesday. But I can see it being a 2-2 draw.
Okay.
But I'd like United to win this one.
Yeah.
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 Me too.
Definitely.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Arsenal had a really easy run so far. They've got their confidence up. Like you say, I think if a couple of, we've got a terrible record there. We play them in a month's time, don't we?
Yeah.
And at the moment, I can see them beating us, to be honest, because we never seem to turn up at the Emirates.
Hang on a minute. We went there with Nuno last year. He dropped Skip.
And they played a stupid formation.
Yeah. Didn't he play wing? He played Winks, Ndombele as holding midfielder.
That's right.
And Dele.
Yeah. No, he played Højbjerg. It was Højbjerg, Ndombele on the left, Dele on the right, or vice versa. Ndombele and Dele running up and down, and Højbjerg in the middle was all by himself, basically.
He had the best player of the season. The best player of the short season thus far was on the bench.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous decision.
I couldn't understand why he dropped Skip. Couldn't understand it.
No,
not at all. It was just bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got a couple of things to talk about. This one came out today. So the club is trialling the use of a big screen outside the South Stand, which will be showing the day's live televised Premier League fixtures. So the Merseyside derby, you can watch that outside the South Stand,
right,
12:30, and you can watch the Villa Man City game after the game at 5:30.
Right. Is this different to the Levy Cinema Dome that's being built?
Yes, because that's across the road, about 300 yards away.
Are they giving out 3D glass? Is it 3D screen? Are they giving out 3D glasses as you're walking along the high road? Is that how it works?
They do 3D anymore, Dave. I think you need to have a chat with Seb about some technology.
Okay, just checking.
So if you want to watch this game, but you're not seated in the South Stand, you need to be on what's it called, Paul? The platform. I can't remember.
The concourse.
Whatever the concourse. The outside bit of the South Stand. It's not concourse, is it? It's called the.
Oh, it's like.
I know what you mean.
Harry,
you have to be in there before 2:00. From 2:00 onwards, you can only get up there if you've got a South Stand ticket. If you're already there by 2, you're fine to stay there.
Can you take a transistor radio with an earpiece and listen to it like on Radio 2 back in the day?
You really are stuck in 1994, aren't you?
70s, more like.
I mean, my take on this is it's going to be raining anyway. Weather's not looking great. I'd rather be inside next to the bar watching it on the hundreds of TVs they've got underneath in the concourse, to be honest. That's just me.
But it's a nice idea. It's a way to get people to the ground earlier, probably spending more money, ideally.
Sorry. It's made me laugh.
And then the other thing today, I could have bought tickets for the Champions League game on next week, went on sale for members this morning. And at about 4:00, I saw Franco put a tweet up that the club already panic selling and saying you can buy 4 additional tickets for guests. Clearly, sales haven't gone very well between yesterday and with the season tickets and the members. They're Category B prices, which put the tickets between £43 and £95. What do we think of this, Craig? Do you think they've put it too high? Is it just because it's short notice?
I think the club have misread the room, to be honest, in terms of this. I think they should have done what they did in Wembley days and did the package. The package deals for all the group games and sold it as a £100 or £120 package for the 3 games. I think everything that's going on, the external context and everything else that's going on, I think it's a tough ask for people to afford their season tickets, let alone season tickets plus cup games and everything else on top. So, I mean, obviously, I'm going to be there. I've bought my ticket, but it's not easy. It's a stretch. It's a financial stretch. So I think they could have done more for the fans, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, I echo what Craig was saying there as well. I also think there's no real glamour ties there to use Franco parlance. He also said it should have been like, you should have been able to buy like almost like the 3 games in one package, which I agree with, which was Craig, which you said there as well. Also, school just went back in London in the UK today, and it will go back on Monday. As when we only found out what last Saturday morning what days we were playing and stuff. It's all very, very short notice for people. So it'll be interesting to see how many people there on Wednesday. It'll be very, very interesting to see.
Yeah.
Look, I think this is a perfect opportunity for the fan rep on the board to sort this kind of thing out, as promised by the owners at the end of last season.
You missed this today, Dave, and obviously we are generally a no politics place, but Darren Lewis from the Mirror has reported that fears are growing that if Liz Truss is, who's the favourite to succeed our rather incompetent Prime Minister, is voted in, she will veto the fan-led review. So there'll be absolutely no chance for your fan on the board, Dave.
But that was promised by our owner. He said we were going to have the DNA back in our footballing style and a fan on the board. So what's happened? I don't understand.
No idea. Well, do I look like Daniel Levy? No.
Well, it didn't happen because they wanted to wait the outcome of the fan-led review. So I like to think, to give you assurance, Dave, that if it is scrapped by Truss, if she was to come in, that Levy would stick to his word and would come up with a way of getting a fan representative on the board, as he promised. But time will tell.
The first Premier League club to have a fan rep on the board. Anyway, let's see.
Yeah. Adrian's saying the next 4 league home games are sold out. Well, that's probably because we've got 42,000 season ticket holders. So a lot of those tickets will be going on the exchange, no doubt, but obviously helps. But yeah, I think the club have misread it. Short time, everyone's struggling. The energy crisis. Our bills are due to rocket next month again. I mean, we've spent a fortune in this over the summer holidays with kids and stuff. My kids are going back to school next week. There's no way if I could I'd be taking them Spurs on a midweek game this time of year. I think there's just too many things they've got wrong.
Going to football's always been an expensive exercise. I mean, I'm not just saying it in relation to our current owners, but the truth is that it's an expensive hobby. It really is.
Mm-hmm. What I will say, just on the Champions League tickets as well, and as a season ticket holder, I'm lucky that I get first dibs at all these home tickets for these games, whether we go through. But those fans that make the effort to buy all of these home tickets for these 3 games, they should be, in my humble opinion, rewarded when it comes to the later stages if we are to progress in terms of having first dibs at some of these tickets as well. I think it won't happen that way clearly and everything else, but it's always feel for those fans that make the effort and then when it comes to the last stages don't get anywhere near.
Yeah, and I also think that those fans who travel the furthest, like say Australia for a reason, and they're over for 2 weeks in September and October, that UEFA's done the fixture list and BT's done the Arsenal game all at times I can't go to. So very selfish.
That was your stupid fault for not planning better.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Not really.
It sounds like a you problem, Dave.
No, it's actually the New South Wales education system because that's when the school holidays are. What can I do about that, eh? Come on now. I've got many problems. That's not one of them.
Yeah. Then I saw this tweet earlier from Fabrizio. Newcastle wanted Lucas Moura as they approached Tottenham during deadline day. Same for Villa. Spurs decided to keep the player. Never been advanced. Lucas' future remains open as he's out of contract in June 2023. I thought he had 2 years left. Apparently, he's only got 1 year left. I don't think anyone's going to cry when Lucas goes, are they? Apart from Brendan.
Look, I mean, he did. I mean, he did give us the greatest moment in recent years. I mean, he got us in Tottenham in a Champions League final. You can't. I mean, that was just amazing. We walked around on this earth for 3 to 4 weeks saying, well, Tottenham are in the Champions League final. So you can't deny that place in history. I mean, you look at some of the people who've won finals for us or big milestone moments. Woodgate against Chelsea, Alan Nielsen. No one would say they're historically great players. And they've done something momentous for the club, and so is he. I still think he's shit, though.
Paul?
I liked him. Always liked him. Love watching him. Liked his effort. Liked his application. Obviously, what happened at Amsterdam, will always be close to me in my heart. Yeah, we're going to let him go in a free, or if we might let him go in January, like we did with Ericsson, just for his contract run out. But I've loved watching him. I've loved watching him. He's. I don't think you can ever fault his effort. You might be able to fault his quality at times, but I don't think you can ever fault his effort. I think we, as people watching him, we can kind of we can get on board. We can't understand, maybe the psychological problems or the issues that a player goes through, but we can at least see them making effort. And Lucas has always been doing that. So yeah, we'll keep him, and as we should as well. And then, as I say, he might go in January. If not, he goes as a free next year. And then there'll be loads of people like, good riddance, etc., like we did with Winks. But no, I like Lucas. I don't have anything bad. I know he's got some dodgy political opinions. He might like a few dodgy things in Brazil, but
Like
I don't
Brendan.
really like Brendan. No, I don't really want. I don't really hold that against him until because I can't make a judgment on what he does with his political beliefs. But no, as a Tottenham player, I like him.
Yeah, no, I love him. Won't have a bad word said about him in my eyes. I thought we had an extra year extension on him. I'm sure I've read that somewhere.
Adrian has suggested maybe there's an option.
Yeah,
but the club might decide
not to take it exactly.
Better off leaving him.
He was never going to go. He was never going to go in this window anyway. I don't think that was ever even considered by the club. They may have come in for him, but he was never going to go. He'll stay, and I think his plan himself. He's come out publicly said his plan is to see out his contract and then go back to Brazil. I believe is what he said himself. So, I love him. I wish him nothing but good, and I'm sure he'll have an impact this season as well for us. I'm sure he'll have good moments for us.
Look, I think what sums him up is that the City game at the start of last season, he was man of the match. He had a great game, pressed really hard. His passing was even good. He had a great game. And then the Wolves and Watford games, he was back to his inconsistent self. So I mean, ultimately, I don't think he was a top player. He did give us one of the greatest moments in our club's history. And actually, just to finish it off, you look at his attitude after the Champions League final. Yeah, he came out, he said he was disappointed, but he didn't throw a massive sulk about it and he carried on. Compare that to the attitude of Mr. Brian Hill.
Indeed. I'm just thinking because I don't think any of us will be on Monday's show. Should we do a quick prediction for the Marseille game on Wednesday? I just looked. Marseille are currently third in Ligue 1 in France, having taken 13 points out of 15. Ligue 1. Just for you, Dave. And they even beat Nice. Oh, lost it. 3-0 the other day. Yeah, they won 3-0 at Nice. And Alexis Sanchez is playing. Do you know Alexis Sanchez is playing for them? Scored twice against Nice. So they're in form, playing very well. Not going to be an easy game, is it?
2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Craig?
It feels like a long way away, but with Fulham ahead of us. But I'm going to go for a narrow win, very narrow win, low scoring game.
Dave, before you speak, I'm just going to tell you their team currently includes, apart from Sanchez, Dimitri Payet, Guendouzi, Klaus, the right wing back we were linked with, Kolasinac, and Tavares. And also their goalkeeper is Paul Lopez.
Right.
Guy that was on our books for a while and never played. He's played for quite a lot of European teams.
Where is it? Is it at the Velodrome or is it at Tottenham?
It is at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Okay, because all right, 2-0 to us.
Yeah. And will Chris Waddle be rolled out, you reckon? Somewhere?
I love Chrissy Waddle. The day he left, I was so upset, honestly.
I was gutted when he left. We just signed Lineker.
Yes.
It all went wrong, didn't it?
For 3 weeks, we had Gaza, Lineker, Waddle. And you can't even blame Enoch for that one, Paul.
Not even Sugar's fault, that one.
No, Scholar.
Yeah. Oh, League.
Yeah, I don't think you pronounce the N, don't you? League.
League. Oh, I don't care. Oh, second cat's just walked in. Anyway, so there'll be a pod. I don't. Paul, you doing the pod this weekend? You booked
Yeah,
that?
it'll be after the game. So whenever I get back, so probably, Franco gets back quicker for me. Yeah, we'll do one. There'll be one out by Sunday morning, hopefully.
Can you make Franco a bit cheerier in the pod this week? I mean, it felt like we lost at Forest last week, Paul. Can you have a word? Do you mind?
I'll try. We can't all be like, happy-go-lucky like you are, Dave. But I'll certainly try.
That's the irony of the situation, Paul. But if I think he's being a bit grumpy, then surely that's a wake-up call for the man. Surely.
Yeah, there'll be a pod out this weekend.
Yeah, and Caller will be back on Monday, hopefully. I know Becky's in. I can't remember who else. I'm not sure I've booked anybody yet. I think Gibbo will probably be here with his combine harvester, and someone else will be here.
Bobby Davro.
Wednesday.
Have you booked Bobby Davro this week? No?
Bobby Davro. He's not returning Gibbo's calls apparently.
That's a shame.
We go. So all there is for me to say is thanks very much, Craig.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Been great. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Mr. Muir.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me on.
You two both at the lane tomorrow, yeah?
I am, yeah. Going to be up there early.
Yeah. Cool. Dave definitely won't be, and I won't because I've got the kids.
It's not likely, but Craig, lovely to meet you. Lovely to see your conservatory extension as well. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. You couldn't have
a backdrop like me.
Yeah, exactly. I will do that next time. I'll blur it out.
And yeah, thanks, Dave. I'll see you at some point. No doubt you'll WhatsApp me about something, about me not really reading your run sheet, doing a caller as I did tonight. And thank you very much for watching. And come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.